Yehovah Eloheinu Svaot, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Please fill me and lead me and cover me with your Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Amen. We'll start with the Shema. Listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, be careful, attention, and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity with himself. You shall act upon your love to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts in mind, with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Yod, He, Vav, He. Hand, behold, nail, behold. 1 Samuel chapter 18. By the time David had finished speaking to Shaul, Jonathan found himself inwardly drawn by David's character, so that Jonathan loved him as he did himself. That day, Shaul took David into his service and would not let him go home to his father's house any more. Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as he did himself. Jonathan removed the cloak he was wearing and gave it to David, his armor too, including his sword, belt, and bow. David would go out, and no matter where Shaul sent him, he was successful. Shaul put him in charge of the fighting men. All the people thought it good, and so did Shaul's servants. As David and his others were returning from the slaughter of the Plishti, the women came out of all the cities of Israel to meet King Shaul, singing and dancing joyfully with tambourines and three-stringed instruments. In their merrymaking, the women sang, Shaul has killed his thousands, but David his tens of thousands. Shaul became very angry because this song displeased him. He said, they gave David credit for tens of thousands, but me they give credit for only thousands. Now all he lacks is the kingdom. From that day on, Shaul viewed David with suspicion. The following day, an evil spirit from God came powerfully over Shaul, so that he fell into a frenzy in the house. David was there playing his lyre as on other occasions. This time, Shaul had his spear in his hand, and he threw the spear, thinking, I will pin David to the wall. But David dodged out of the way twice. Shaul became afraid of David because Yehovah was with him and had left Shaul. Therefore, Shaul put him at a distance from himself by making him commander over 1,000. His going and comings became public knowledge. David had great success in all his ways. Yehovah was with him. When Shaul saw how very successful he was, he became afraid of him. But all Israel and Yehudah loved David because they knew about all his campaigns. Shaul said to David, Here is my older daughter, Merav. I will give her to you as your wife. Only continue displaying your courage for me and fight Yehovah's battles. Shaul was thinking, I don't dare touch him. So let the Plishtim do away with him. David's response to Shaul was, Who am I that I should become the king's son-in-law? I don't have any kind of life, and my father's family has no rank in Israel. However, when it is time for Merav, Shaul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given to Adriel, the Mechalati, as his wife. But Michal, Shaul's daughter, fell in love with David. They told Shaul, and it pleased him. Shaul said, I'll give her to him so that she can entrap him, and the Plishtim can do away with him. So Shaul said to David, Today you will become my son-in-law through the second daughter. Shaul ordered his servants to speak privately to David and say, Look, the king is pleased with you, and all his servants like you. So become the king's son-in-law. Shaul's servant said this to David, but David replied, Do you think being the king's son-in-law is something to be treated so casually, given that I am a poor man without social standing? Shaul's servants reported back to him how David had responded. Shaul said, Here's what you are to say to David. The king doesn't want any dowry. He wants 100 foreskins of the Plishtim, so that he can have vengeance on his king's enemies. for Shaul was hoping to have David killed by the Plishtim. When his servant said these words to David, it pleased David to become the king's son-in-law, even before the time for him to be married. David got up, set out, he and his men, and killed 200 men of the Plishtim. He brought their foreskins and gave all of them to the king in order to become the king's son-in-law. Then Shaul gave him Michal, his daughter, as his wife. Shaul saw and understood that Jehovah was with David, and Michal, Shaul's daughter, loved him. This only made Shaul even more afraid of David, so that Shaul became David's enemy for the rest of his life. The leaders of the Plishtim would attack, but whenever they attacked, David was more successful than any of Shaul's servants, so that David acquired a great reputation. How can we learn to love our Creator after reading this interesting 18th chapter of 1 Samuel? We can aim to build your character for others to be drawn to and love. Serve the one true King. Enter into a love covenant with those you love. Love others as you love yourself. When you love, you give. Ask Jehovah to bring you success no matter what you do. Be a leader that others desire to follow. Sing praise to the one true King. Ask Jehovah to remove any evil spirit from you. Ask Jehovah to be with you. Aim to have great success in all your ways, and for Jehovah to be with you. Aim to love those around you. Be courageous and fight the battles of Jehovah. Be humble. Aim to fight for your future wife and to marry. Aim to fight and have a great reputation will be acquired when Jehovah is with you. How can we love others as Yeshua loves us? We can serve, give, protect, and fight for those you love. Bear one another's burdens. We can remain humble and serve those you love. Produce spiritual fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, self-control. End with the Aaronic blessing using the name. Jehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Jehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he will provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Jehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and will set in place all you need to be whole and complete.